X1, eh? What's that? Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Meredith Duncan, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Nigel Harrington. We warmly welcome the family of Gunner Albert Edward Hayden, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those who are still serving, and the families who support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony around Australia. This evening, wreaths will be laid by family and visitors. And now I just ask that you stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to gunner Albert Hayden. Albert Hayden was born in 1896 and was the oldest of 5 children of Albert and Isabella Hayden of Wallsend near Newcastle in New South Wales. Affectionately known as Mick, he grew up in the Sydney suburb of Balmain and attended school in the nearby suburb of Birch Grove. He later worked as a boat builder and paraded part-time with the 29th Infantry Regiment. At the age of 17, Hayden became the principal breadwinner following his parents' separation in 1913. Hayden enlisted at Victoria Barracks as soon as he turned 21 in December 1916. After a period of training at the military camp at Sydney Showgrounds, he embarked for the training camps in England with a reinforcement group from the medium trench mortar batteries in February 1917. When he arrived, he spent the following months training on the Salisbury Plains near Wiltshire before sailing for France 3 months later. On his arrival, Hayden went into camp at the AIF base depot at Rulers, where he was posted to the 1st Divisional Artillery and mustered as a gunner for the X1A medium trench mortar battery. Equipped with 4 2-inch trench mortars, colloquially referred to by the troops as the toffee apple or plum pudding, Hayden's medium trench mortar battery fired a cast iron bomb the size of a football in order to destroy barbed wire and heavily fortified enemy positions such as concrete pillboxes and German machine gun positions. Light and portable, but providing accurate high explosive fire, the guns form part of the 1st Division's arsenal of artillery assets that supported the infantry throughout their campaign on the Western Front. Having arrived at his new post in June 1917, Hayden participated in the 3rd Battle of Ypres when the focus of British operations shifted north into Belgium. In an effort to break out of the Ypres salient and drive the German army away from their submarine bases on the Belgian coastline, artillery units were instrumental in helping the infantry make a series of advances towards the village of Passchendaele. Beginning at Menin Road on the 20th of September 1917, the guns of X1A medium trench mortar battery fired on the German positions and formed part of the creeping barrage that protected the Australian infantry as they advanced and captured ground which had been occupied by the German troops since 1914. The advance continued throughout the following weeks, with the Australians successfully capturing Polygon Wood and Broodsender. Although the infantry were largely successful in capturing ground, the devastation caused by the concentrated artillery bombardments destroyed the intricate drainage system that kept the low-lying area dry and ultimately turned into a quagmire. By early October, when the heavy rain set in, field gun batteries were finding it increasingly difficult to move forward in the thick, gluttonous mud. As lighter alternatives to the field guns, the medium trench mortar batteries took on a more important role in providing the infantry with the fire support they so desperately needed. On the 20th of October 1917, German artillery started shelling the gunners of X1A battery as they were moving up the line from their headquarters along the Menin Road. Since there was little cover for the gun crews, they decided to keep moving forward, with German shells falling along either side of them. As the crews approached the firing line, a 5.9-inch shell landed among them, killing Hayden and one other man instantly. Aged 21 at the time of his death, Hayden was buried at Bedford House Cemetery, just outside Ypres. A small epitaph etched into his headstone tells of his family's grief and sorrow, so sadly missed by his sad mother. Hayden is listed on the Roll of Honour to my right, among more than 60,000 others from the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is just one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Gunner Albert Hayden, who gave his life for us for our freedoms and in the hope of a better world.
They shall grow not old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial. I wish you a very good evening.